Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
BlueNote Fan Report is coming to you live from Hawaii. Aloha and mahalo. Welcome to the BlueNote Fan Report. I am Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan. I am your man that talks all about the NHL and other sports. How are you? Colin Smith, Justin Green. This one I thought my night couldn't get any more dirty. Oh, Wendy, I'm now dirty.
Okay.
I didn't know I was dirty.
Okay, Ryan Reeves.
Yeah, wow, man. Wow. I got a Blackhawks fan, Blackhawks player coming on and telling me I'm dirty. How you doing tonight, my buddy, my pal?
Doing all right. How are you?
Oh, not bad, man. Not bad. We're going to try and start the show a little bit earlier now. Ashley should be popping up. She said her kids gave her the stomach bug a little bit, so she might be a few minutes late, but we're looking forward to having her. And we're going to talk about. I thought I'd come up with a couple of topics. I want to talk about two topics I put on the primer, and then one I talked to you about. I'd like to talk. The one I talked to you about was the teams that are the contenders, the big teams, right? Yeah. And I know we talked about this a little bit, but I still for me, the Avalanche, I can't see them as that big contender. And I know I went back and I looked at some things. I was thinking of teams that had that all-in mentality and what they did the next year. Mm-hmm. And the last team that I can think of that had that all-in mentality, I mean, it came into the season with that, oh my God, we're here to win the cup, was the 2017, 2018 Washington Capitals.
I would even go a little step forward, and I would say that 2020 Tampa Bay Lightning were all in on winning that cup after the year prior getting swept out of the playoffs after winning the President's Trophy.
Yeah, but that's kind of an interesting season, though. So
it is an interesting season, but they were viewed as of how they were playing hockey all season that year. They were playing some of the best hockey I've seen in a long time.
Well, you're talking about 2018-19, not 1920.
I'm talking about 1920.
Well, 1920, I think that they were like third in their division, or that. No, they didn't even make. Did they make the top four teams in that round robin?
They did.
Okay, well they weren't first. They weren't at the top.
They weren't first in that division because the Bruins won were off to the President's Trophy that year.
Yeah,
but the way every game I watched Tampa that year, you could see something with them that they are wanting to contend for that cup. They had that no quit mentality. They had one game where they got walked on, and it, oddly enough, was the Hawks walking on them for some odd reason. It was some weird night where the Hawks just had their great night, and the Lightning just had a rough night. But that 2019-2020 Tampa Bay Lightning roster showed a strange resiliency in their game. Yes, they didn't have a great regular season to what their standards are, but the way they were playing was actually quite a championship-like mentality we saw that they brought into that bubble playoff.
I'll be honest, if I think back to that, if we don't go into the into the bubble, if we don't have COVID happen, I look at there were 4 teams that I thought could have won the cup. Dead on, were could have won the cup, and they were St. Louis, Arizona, or not Arizona, St. Louis, Colorado, Boston, and Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but the bubble changed everything, and I think the bubble helped Tampa more than it helped anybody else.
I don't know, because if you looked at it, Tampa Bay was technically the first team to get a full COVID outbreak on their roster, and it happened right before going into the bubble.
I don't know. I know because I know a bunch of Blues had it earlier.
No, they had the outbreak when the players were reporting back to do that mini training camp to go into the bubbles. Tampa Bay was the first team to have that outbreak where they had to shut down operations again to fix their situation that was going on there.
I thought that was in the 21 season, not the
Nope.
bubble.
2020 going into the playoffs.
Into the playoffs. Oh, that's
Yep.
right. They had to clean. They shut down their practice facility and had to clean everything.
Yeah, and it was they had like at least 10 positive tests on that roster.
And that was before they flew up to the bubble, right?
Yes, right before the bubble.
Yeah,
2 or 3 weeks before the bubble.
Well, again, when you look at for Tampa, from what I remember, see, the Western Conference just took an absolute weird turn. I mean, Dallas was a decent team, but Dallas wasn't a contender to me, right? I mean, you had if you remember in the West, you had the top 4 teams. 3 of them were from the Central.
Yeah.
Right. You had St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, and Dallas.
Yeah.
Right. Those were the top 4 teams, and Dallas ended up just having, the right. That things fell in place for Dallas, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I look at Colorado and I look at that mentality that they had, and in the postseason, in the off season, I'm not seeing that intensity from them, or in the comments and the cup celebrations to me are kind of subdued. They're not like raunchous. They're not out there. I think the most raunchous one I seen was a guy taking the cup down and slipping slide.
I think that was Eric Johnson.
Yeah, and he's not even on
the
Avalanche anymore.
Eric Johnson is.
Well, yeah, Brian, I don't know what I think you're misunderstanding what we're talking about. For me, I look at Colorado and I just got this, like, my gut is telling me they're going to fall fast. They're going to have a hard fall.
With how bad our division is, I can't see them falling out of a playoff position.
I could see. First of all, I've already seen St. Louis leap past them. I really do. I think St. Louis has better goaltending, has better defense, and better special teams all the way around. Right? And I know when you look at the points that there was a huge difference. I think 121 to 109, an 11-point difference. But you look at the stats, and the 2 teams were almost even in stats.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The thing that the Colorado did that the Blues didn't do, they won the close games. Right? They won in overtime. They had the speed to win in overtime. And that's what the Blues didn't. Right? If the Blues can win, if the Blues had that speed, they win overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And that just hurt them for me. And it seemed to hurt them a lot. And that was, the thing that I saw. I just think that first of all, I think that the Blues have leaped past them. Then you look at Oh my goodness, we have a surprise. Aloha, Ashley.
Hey, Guy. Hey, Wendy.
Hey,
We missed Ashley. We got Ashley. Ashley sighting. Ashley.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I've been doing a lot of work and
Oh
school.
no, Ashley. I'm playing with you. I'm messing with you. I know what you got going on. You've talked to me. You're good. You know, I'm glad that you can come back. I know you're excited for the season to start.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, same as I am. We're kind of right now. We're talking about the teams that we think are going to be the contenders, the big guys, the guys that right now, when you look at them, they're teams that you think can win the cup this season, right? And for me, I feel like the Avalanche, like you felt about them last year, right? I've put this, I've gotten beat up for it on a few. I think they're going to miss the playoffs. I can see them missing the playoffs. I think St. Louis is better. I think Winnipeg could show up and be a little bit better. I think that Nashville could surprise some people. Minnesota is the one in there that I'm not sure of. I think Minnesota could possibly get ahead. I think that they're just coming into this season and they don't have that. You know, last season they came in with a chip on their shoulder, and I think that chip's gone. And I think they've lost way too many pieces, right? The cohesion that you look at the Capitals who won it in 18. You look at, first of all, look at Pittsburgh who won it in 16, Pittsburgh who won it in 17, Caps who won it in 18, Blues who won it in 19. And you get the Tampa in 20. That's the one, or even no, I think 20 they lost a little bit, but not a lot. But in 21, they had a huge loss. They lost their whole second scoring line, and were able to overcome it. But I just think, and goaltending, for me, goaltending, this is where if you want to be a contender, you got to have solid goaltending, and I don't think they do. I do not think the Avalanche have the goaltending. But
I'm just laughing at Ryan.
Like the show Strict Stepmom that jumps in when guy loses control and gets out of hand. Oh, I've had too many of those with Ashley being gone. Trust me. All right, I've had way too many of those. What's your feeling on this, Ash?
Honestly, I do think that Colorado is not going to be as dominant, but I don't foresee them missing the playoffs. Sorry, Wendy. Chicago is not going to do anything this season. Let's be real here.
I'm going for Connor Bedard. I want that Connor Bedard jersey behind me next year.
I mean, Dallas probably isn't going to be very competitive, so they're not going to have as much competition to making the playoffs. They're going to be a shoo-in.
Well, see,
but it's not going to be like a number one finish. They'll probably get in a wild card.
I think here's the thing. I think 5 teams are coming out of the Pacific and only 3 out of the Central. Right? If you're talking about a wild card, I don't see a wild card coming out of the Central. I don't think the Central is going to be strong enough for a wild card.
Pacific hasn't done anything to improve. It's going to be 4-4.
I disagree. You have Calgary that's improved. You have Edmonton that I think stayed the same. You have Vancouver that is hugely improved. You have the Kings that have improved, and then you have the Ducks. You have the Ducks that I think are going to be the surprise team in the league this season.
I can see that about the Ducks, but I don't think that the Kings are going to be very competitive. I really think that you're tooting Calgary's horn a little too much. They had too much movement. We don't know what the cohesion is going to be with the new pieces. Even if they are phenomenal pieces, they're not necessarily experienced with each other. So you're going to see a team that's got to find that that chemistry. I really just don't see them being as good as you do.
I think they're going to find that chemistry. Huberdeau is that glue, and I think that he's going. I will
give Huberdeau that, but Kadri isn't going to do anything.
And that's the question mark there. That's the huge question mark. Which Kadri are they going to get? You know, You already had him, showing his antics in the playoffs, and he kept it really good until they got to the playoffs. So what's going to happen in the regular season with him? I know Wendy thinks that he's going to be okay up there with Suter. I'm just not sure.
The reason why I see Kadri working well with Daryl Sutter as a head coach, because Sutter's dealt with a player like this before and made a better player out of it. Drew Dowdy was always viewed as a hothead in the NHL who had a slight edge to his game that had a dirty part to it. When he had Daryl Sutter coaching him, he was able to keep Dowdy out of his stupid antics. When Sutter got fired by the Kings, Dowdy went back to his stupid antics, and the Kings have been in a rebuild ever since. I think Sutter's going to take that same mentality he did with Dowdy and keep Kadri's head on straight.
If he does keep Kadri's head on straight, it's going to be great. And that last comment that you showed, Ryan Green's, I'm sorry. I think Zegras for me, I think this is his breakout year. I think this is the year that he becomes a superstar.
Ryan's point is that it takes more than one.
That's a bad take there, Ryan. I have to say that. With the players that they have in Anaheim and with Zegras as their key player, they have Mason McTavish, who's probably going to win the Calder Trophy. I'm saying probably. He's the favorite right now to win it before the season starts. They have Troy Terry. They have Jamie Drysdale. That team has a good core young roster going for themselves. They'll be a fun team to watch with Zegras, McTavish, Drysdale, and Troy Terry on their forward lines. I think
have they announced the C yet?
I don't think they're going to have a C this year.
Right. I actually think by December, late November, early December, they have a C. Right.
I don't think so. If they do announce a C, they will probably have Ryan Getzlaf come out to the ice for ceremony and pass the C to a different player. I don't think it will be one of the young guys on that team if they give a C out.
No, I think Zegras, if Zegras has the season I think he has, I think he's going to solidify himself to be that guy there. And I think he shows that. I think all the stuff that I see with him, the NHL 23? Did NHL 23 this year or 24? Yeah. I forget which one it is. 23, NHL 23, all that stuff. He's got this really quiet confidence with him, and it really is starting to pick up and show that he can be that guy. And you know what, Dale? I'm sorry. I'm not sold on Colorado. Everybody is munching on Colorado's jock, and I don't understand it. How do you lose that much and everybody go, oh, my God, they're still cup contenders?
Because they're, crushing on Nathan McKinnon hardcore.
Well, that's part of it. But you know what? The chip is gone. And I think with that chip gone, they're not going to come out and play like that. And again, they lost. And I think I added up 220-something points. Mm-hmm. Right? And I think they brought in like 40. How do you lose almost 200 points? And then everybody thinks that you're this great, amazing team. And
I still think that they're going to be a great team, but I just don't see them winning, the first spot.
Like Ryan Green saying Colorado's going to rip the league in half again. I don't think so. Right? No. I honestly don't think so. And in goaltending, I think they took a step. They had one of the worst goaltenders in the league and took a step backwards. Yeah, the worst goaltender in the playoffs.
Was
that's
the
for
worst
sure.
in the league, but he wasn't the best. I was kind of concerned about them having him, and he ended up doing better than I expected, but still wasn't the best. And now
you
they
look
took
at what
a step
they
back.
faced in the playoffs. You look at what they faced in the playoffs, and up until Pavelski, they faced backups mainly. Right? Everybody sits there and munches on their jock, and they forget. Okay, and that's a true point. Matt Lowe's point is true. You can show it if you want. I did that because that was strategic, right? That was strategic. If the Blues beat them, great. The Blues beat them. I'm out of the pick them or whatever, and that's fine. I'm happy with that. But if Colorado beat the Blues and did go on, okay. I ended up second. I'll take that knowledge. I'll take that knowledge. Right? They didn't have Grubauer last year, Ryan. They did not have Grubauer last year. Grubauer signed with Seattle. They had Kemper and I forget who Francoeur, I think it was. Right? Yeah. But you look at in Saros got hurt, didn't play. I don't think Saros played any of that series, that the first four games, right? And I think they were on their third string goalie in Game 3, right? I think at one point they were concerned that they may end up having to play a playoff game with an e-bug, right? And the season before they lost to. I want to say they lost to
Vegas.
Vegas in the second round. Right? I think they lost to Vegas in the second round, and Dallas beat Vancouver, if I remember correctly. All right, or do I have that wrong?
No, you had that right.
No, yeah, because Vegas went to the conference finals against Dallas, and Dallas beat them. Right? So I look at that and I just kind of sit there and say, how much is that going to hurt them? How much is that going to be there? No, that's not going to happen.
The player I can see getting named captain for that team would have to be Hampus Lindholm.
What about Huberdeau?
He's too new.
I like Huberdeau, but I don't think of Huberdeau as that captain type player. He may have worn the A in Florida, but it was the fact that they had Barkov as their true captain there. The reason why I think Hampus Lindholm works as a captain, he has that style of play that works as a captain. He kind of leads by example, and I think Lindholm may be named captain for the Calgary Flames.
Maybe. I mean, I could see it, but I think that they put the money that they put into Huberdeau is going to I just have that feeling that Huberdeau is going to be the guy. Right? And they haven't had a captain for a while. They haven't had a they're the only team that doesn't have a captain.
They haven't had a captain since the expansion draft for Seattle. That's it.
Okay.
New York didn't have a captain for a while. I don't know if they named one yet, but
there's multiple teams without captains this year.
Yeah.
Seattle's without a captain. The Flames are without one. Anaheim. I believe.
Are the Rangers without one, or they?
Oh, the Rangers named frickin' Trouba the captain.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Completely disagree with being named captain. One of the dirtiest players in the NHL.
Right.
I think that's about it for no captains in the league. I think there's only like 3 teams right now that don't have captains.
I could see 2 of them naming captains before the season starts or early into the season. Right? Matt Lowe, who's better now, Calgary or Florida?
I would say Calgary.
Yeah, I think they're even. I think they're closer to even. I think Florida has the better goaltending.
I don't think so. Bobrovsky sucks.
Give Bobrovsky with some good defense. I think, they're
I
not.
I will take Markstrom over Bobrovsky any day.
Right.
I still think Florida's better.
This is coming from a guy who, for an Eastern Conference team, the Panthers would be my favorite team out of the Eastern Conference. They've always been that way, but never close to enough to overthrow the Hawks. I would still say Calgary's better.
I think with Florida, for me, it's getting out of Coach Q's shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Hiring, yeah, but I don't think they hired the right head coach to do it. They hired Paul Maurice, who has a legacy of failure with any team he goes to. He went to one cup final with the Hurricanes back in 2002, but got swept. And ever since then, he was pretty much a one and done in the playoffs.
Fair enough. I just, for me, if we talked about our top 5 teams, on what was it? Friday, I think it was.
2 days ago.
Or Sunday. Was it Sunday? Yeah. Sunday. We had that impromptu show on Sunday, and we talked about our top 5 teams. And for me, I see the East just being heads and shoulders above the West right now. Right? I think a lot of teams in the West, and I didn't see that last season. Last season, I thought the West was head and shoulders above the East. But I see a lot of teams that have taken a step back. I still put, Tampa, Florida, the Rangers. I still look at Toronto as if they're not a odds-on favorite contender, they're right there. They're right behind it, right? I look at Calgary. I look at St. Louis. Say again?
The issue with Toronto, they have 0 goaltending.
I don't know. Murray may be able to really I have this feeling that this might be for Murray the season where he gets his act together. Right?
I don't see it.
Because him going to Ottawa made no sense to me.
What?
Him going to Ottawa, him getting traded to Ottawa made no sense to me.
I get that. It made 0 sense for anyone, but the thing was he was overthrown by Tristan Jarry and Casey DeSmith in Pittsburgh, so they traded him to Ottawa, who gave him, I can't remember the exact trade they offered for him, but they probably just took the trade and said, "Done with you."
Was it was it a future considerations or something?
I have to look it up right now.
Yeah.
Hang on. Matt Murray. In my opinion, Murray's not a good goaltender. He never was in Pittsburgh. In my opinion, he was overrated when he was with the Penguins.
And it's possible, but see, for me, when I look at when he went to Ottawa, I'm going, well, wait a minute. You have a goaltender that's struggling. Why are you going to take a goaltender that's struggling and put him on a young team with not a lot of defense?
Tanking.
Say again?
Tanking. It helps them get better draft prospects.
Yeah, whatever they could get for him, right?
Yep.
But for me, I think in Toronto, they may be able to form some type of a defense to help Murray out and be that goalie. And then they've got the offense. They're going to win 6-5 games and 5-4 games. They're going to win those games. Right? And you look at the NHL last season, I asked you this. Do you think that the NHL is going to see our its offense going to increase or decrease? And you think it's going to increase.
Yeah.
Right? I think that what it's going to come down to, and they were talking about this on NHL Network, is puck handling for goalies. The goalies that can handle the pucks are the ones that are going to really – you're going to start seeing more the late 80s, early 90s style goalies, right? That can get behind the net, take that, take the dump and chase out of it, because they can get behind the net, grab that puck instead of just leaving it there, make that pass, move the puck around, right? Darren Pang, who I know you don't like, had the greatest idea, and I absolutely love this. He thought that the area where the puck, so you have the trapezoid behind the net, and that's where the goalie can play the puck, right?
Yeah.
He thought that's the area where the goalie shouldn't be able to play the puck. Right? So, he could play it on the sides, but he couldn't play it behind. That would, that would stop some of this dump and chase. Instead of guys just throwing the puck down there and trying to run to it and the goalie stopping it, it'd be open, or you'd see pucks come further around. I think it would set up a lot more for offenses to set up quickly instead of having to contend with the goalie back there. But right now, the goalies that can play the pucks, those are the ones that I think are going to have a good, solid year this year. And there's maybe 4 or 5 that are. Say again?
Matt Murray is not one of those type of goalies.
Right. There's not a lot. I think there's about 5 goalies out there that I think can really play the puck. Right? I think Vasilevsky is one. I think Bennington's one. Shigurskin has shown a little bit. I think he's still maturing in that area. And at that point, those are the only 3 that really come to mind as guys that almost act like a third defender back there.
Sorokin, a good puck moving goaltender behind for the Islanders. Jack Campbell actually is a good puck handler from behind the net for the Oilers. There's quite a bit I could name off, but the thing is, that's still not that. The reason why I'm still saying offense is going up is the fact that we've lost some of those key goaltenders who were viewed as some of the top goaltenders in the league for the past decade or so, in the last 2 years. Corey Crawford was one, Tuukka Rask was one, Henrik Lundqvist was one, and you can name more off. But the thing is, the goaltenders, I don't see there being that high relevance of goaltending in the NHL. You don't have like those big name goaltenders other than like a Vasilevsky, other than like a Shesterkin or a Sorokin. You don't have those. You don't have many big name goaltenders in the NHL anymore.
You don't put. I know you don't put Bennington in there, but Bennington, I think Bennington is he's there.
If you lose your net to Ville Husso in a regular season, you're not a big name goaltender. I'm sorry.
I think. Well, I think that there's other things that took in. Prior to him getting COVID, he was having a stellar season.
Mm-hmm.
You go look at his numbers. Prior to December 5th, I think it was. December 2nd, 3rd, first week of December. You go look at his numbers prior to him getting COVID, and he was up there. He was like a 9. I want to say he was in the 920s and just over 2-point-something in goals. Right? Yeah. Hold on. I want to pull this up now because I think that that's something that gets forgotten. Is that Bennington, when it came down to it, he was having a great season prior to him getting COVID.
Overrated.
What?
I viewed Bennington as overrated and a one-year wonder. And what I'm still saying, he's a one-year wonder. He hasn't proven anything to me that he's a top-notch goaltender.
Hold on. I'm going to go to the December 1st, right? So prior to December 1st, where was Bennington at? Bennington was had 16 games, was 8-5-3, with a 9-12 and a 2.80. Right? and I think that's when he got COVID.
Mhm.
Right? That's not bad numbers there to start a season. Right? When he got COVID, that's when he kind of fell off. But also, I think the team changed in their direction about how the team was playing at this point also. Right? I think the Blues went from trying to be somewhat of a defensive team to where they changed to being offensive. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm pulling up now. So I'm looking at the season going to December 1st, right? St. Louis was 11th overall. They had played 22 games. They were 12-7-3, 614 win percentage, 27 points. They had 73 goals, which was 5th in the league, and they gave up 60. Let me double check this, get the numbers right. So they were 8th in goal scoring, and in goals against they were 15th at 61. Well, that's how many. Let's see what the goals against per game was. Goals against per game, they were 13th, 2.77, and goals for, I want to say that they were up where they were 7th. So you can see where their season starts shifting a little bit, right? Because I think they ended the season with higher and lower numbers than that, if I remember right. Actually, I think they were at 2.9 in goals against. They might have been at 3. They might be real close to that 3.32 for the season. I can look real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look. Go to. So the Blues ended the season at 377. So actually, they were a lot higher, and 291. So I don't know. It's just how I see it. I thought Bennington was having a pretty good season up until that point. And I might have made Ashley mad. A solid says, sure, but that's not a point. Saying a lot of change. I'm not sure where you're going there, a solid. Okay, a solid had some stuff. So let's go here. If anything, the decor has been changed quite a bit. You lose Bo, Petro, Eddie, Gunner. Actually, when you look at the decor from last season to this season, it's no change. Right? And you say 55 doesn't have a good partner. I don't know. I think with him and Luddy, I think that's going to be a good partnership. Right? I look at the Blues right now, and I'm sitting there going, this team's a lot better than people are giving credit for. I absolutely believe that. I think that if you go down the line, they've got to have top 5, top 6, top 2 lines in the league. Is that arguable? I mean, do you disagree with me on that, Wendy?
It's hard to say just because of how teams are, since we haven't seen the formats of lines yet to start the season. I don't get into the top 5 when it comes to lines until maybe 2 weeks into the season when we start seeing stuff format.
Yeah, I just who they have. You look at Shin, O'Reilly, and Saad, and then Thomas, Buchnevich, and Tarasenko. That's some. Every one of those guys was a 20-goal scorer last season. Okay. All 6 of them, 20 goals or more. Right? 2 of them were. I think 2 of them were 30-goal scorers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have 2.
There was.
Say again.
There is no think. It was.
And then you have 2 20-goal scorers that are not even in the top 6. Right? In Barbashev and Kyrou. These guys aren't even in the top 6. I just think that when you look at the Blues, you can't. Everyone sees this Perron going away, leaving this huge hole, and I think that hole is a lot smaller than people think it is. Right? Ashley, I know you're a huge Perron fan. I know you hate that he left, but when you look at it, for me, it's still addition by subtraction. I think that you're taking an older guy away and giving younger guys an opportunity to step into that role and prove that they can do it.
No different than when we let Pat Maroon go.
Pat Maroon is the one piece that I think the Blues are missing, a Pat Maroon type. I do.
No, but I mean,
admit
it was
that.
the same premise. We let him go so we could give younger guys a chance.
Yeah.
We'll see if this one bites us in the butt.
Yeah, but Pat Maroon wasn't a 20-goal scorer, 30-goal scorer, 20-goal scorer, wasn't a 70-point guy. Big difference there. Who in the West has a better top 9 than us? I'd say Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Colorado, depending on how they put their line together. And quite possibly Calgary, depending on how some guys play out. Wendy, Ryan says you don't get into the lines because the Blackhawks don't have any.
Yeah, we still have lines to format, but our lines are going to be trashed to go for Connor Bedard. So, whatever.
Right.
I'm just taking this season as a season to really just see what this team can do with some of the young guys when they call them up and then send them back down to Rockford. This season is more a start of the transition into the full rebuild, because last year we saw more rebuild process happen by the end of the year. This year is going to be full-blown rebuild process.
Yeah, I for me, like I said, I want Chicago to be good. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Chicago's good, that rivalry is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, I'm old enough to remember the rivalry back in the 80s, the rivalry in the 90s. Right? Those two teams, I mean, and I know everybody hates Keenan, but in the Keenan years, if they were trailing a game against the Blackhawks in the third period, it was gloves off. The fourth line was staying out there until somebody went in the box. That's when the rivalry was the rivalry. Now I'm not what are you saying, promoting that style, but it was in that time frame. That's what they were. There would be some late game melees that just went on and on. And you've heard Kelly Chase has talked about it. We had Tony Twist on. Tony Twist talked about it. I could not stand the Blackhawks. When we played them, we would be in there just punching our lockers, not wanting to get out to them. That's what the rivalry should be to me. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's what I want it to be. And this is going to be I know this is going to be a tough season for Blackhawks fans. I absolutely know it. Right? And then the Bedard thing, that's not even, you can end up first or second and not end up with Bedard.
What do you mean by that?
You could end up having the first or second chance, one or two, having the best chance to get the picks.
By the lottery odds, yeah.
And not get it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And not only that, you could. There are too many teams that are losing for Bedard. Where I just think that
I don't think there's too many teams losing for Bedard this year, quite honestly.
At least 3, if not 4.
3 teams max, 4 teams as a probable, because the 3 teams you'll see battling it out for Connor Bedard is going to be the Hawks, the Coyotes, and the Flyers.
Oh, I got it. Though. See, I wouldn't even have put the Flyers on that list. I was thinking Montreal.
Flyers are garbage.
Okay, so now you got 4 teams because you got to add Montreal to that list.
Montreal, I
I
have
can
at
see
4.
Seattle too.
Say again.
Seattle's going to be an interesting team. I think they're going to be much better than what they were last year.
Yeah.
I think they could be pushing where they are they aren't in a playoff position. I just think they're going to be a lot more competitive, getting more wins, getting more points on their season. I think we could start seeing Seattle starting to maybe become a playoff team by year 3 of their team.
I absolutely see that, and that's what I think they came into this. They came into this with a 3-year plan to make the playoffs.
Now that
right?
they have Shane Wright and Matty Berniers next year, that's going to be a fun team to watch.
Well, isn't Wright going to play college this year?
Nope.
He changed his
into
mind.
The NHL.
Say again.
Shane Wright's an NHLer.
I thought he was going to. I thought he was going to college.
No, if he went back, he would go down to juniors, but he's not going to college.
Okay. For some reason, I thought he was. He'll
going
be
to
in
college. The NHL.
All right. Oh no. Okay. Well, and then I think another team that could be in there to be a 5th team is Vegas. I think Vegas is going to. Vegas is going to have a really hard time putting a team together, period, let alone a team that can compete on the ice. Right? Right now, Vegas has I think it's 17 contracts, and they're over the most you can be for being over the cap. Right? They have 21 contracts, and they're $10 million over the cap, which is they're paying every day. They're paying money every day because they're so over the cap.
Yeah.
Right? They can't even put a team out there. Now they have some guys that I think are going to go on LTIR. Nolan, they got 2 guys, and neither one of them, Patrick Nolan and Nicholas Hague, but I thought they had somebody else that was injured too.
You mean Nolan Patrick?
Yeah, Nolan Patrick. What did I say?
Patrick Nolan.
Nolan. Oh, I said it backwards. Sorry. Nicholas Hague and Nolan Patrick. But Nicholas Hague, I mean, they're not even showing. He's still listed as an RFA, so, I don't even see him. They'd have to sign him to a contract just to put him on IR. I think they would wait. I think you don't sign him until he's ready to come off IR. Right? But Nolan Patrick is only $1.2 million. They still got to put other guys on there. I don't know who else is hurt, but somebody else big on them is hurt.
Robin Leonard's going to be on LTIR starting the season. He's not officially on LTIR.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that right there is, I think Leonard's making 5.5.
Well, they also have Shea Weber. They have Shea Weber at 7.8. And
I still don't understand why they ended up bringing in Weber for just LTIR spot. That's so stupid.
Yeah, and then so they've got 12 million going on LTIR. So that's going to put them under
Robin
the cap
Leonard's
a little bit. But I still think that they're going to struggle
on LTIR.
Say again.
Robin Leonard's already officially listed to LTIR on Cap Friendly.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too. So they've got
I think he's going to miss the
12.8.
whole season.
Yeah. Oh no, he is. He's out
the whole
season,
the entire year. So
yeah, he's going to have double hip surgery.
Poor guy.
Oh, Ian. Hey, Ian, how you doing, bud? See, for me, I think Vegas is going to struggle this year. I really do. I think Vegas could be at the bottom of the Pacific easily.
I think San Jose will be.
Okay, well, San Jose and Vegas are going to be battling it out for that A spot, in my eyes.
They will be, but San Jose's is a little bit more worse. Their goaltending, their offense, defense, it's a mess over in San Jose.
and we've talked about the Central, ad nauseum, but for me, the Central is you got the top and the bottom. The top is the top, the bottom is the bottom, and right off the bat on the bottom you have Chicago and Arizona. Though I do have this really weird feeling that Arizona could get a lift from that small arena.
I don't think so. They couldn't even draw 3,000 fans when they were in Gila River. Their tickets are going to be much more higher in value going to the college arena than they were in Gila Arena. Who the hell will pay $500 to go to a Coyotes game?
Usually that's those seats are usually going to corporate and getting given out.
Yeah, but who honestly is going to pay $300 for the cheapest seats in that stadium?
I don't think that. I think the cheapest seats are cheaper than that.
Nope. They were showing their prices before about 2 months ago what the prices are going to look like going into that arena. And it's about $300 for the cheapest seats.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
To go see a team that's that bad.
I'm looking at something on NHL.com. Sorry about that. No, okay. I guess I got to spend a little bit more time and pay attention to that a little more. I don't know. Just move I don't think the Coyotes. First of all, I don't think the Coyotes are going to move because that market, Phoenix market, is just too big to not have a team.
It's a failed market. It's frankly a failed market that truly the Coyotes need to be gone. I'm sorry if there's a Coyote fan out there watching this. It's been a failed market for hockey. Well, at the top level of pro hockey standards, you have your college hockey. It's good there. You have your AHL. It's good there. But when it gets to professional, like top end level NHL hockey, it's been a failed market since they moved there.
Yeah, post what you want there, Assad. You're more than welcome. I think that it could. I think the problem there is so this is something that if you don't live there, you don't understand the area. And I know we had AZ Sports Guy on earlier. He was in the chat room earlier. Yeah. I was in Phoenix last year for a couple of days, and to me, going from the airport to and I stayed right near Gila River Arena, right? I stayed right in that area. So for me to get there, it didn't seem that big of a deal. But for some reason in that spread out metropolitan, people don't, they either go here or they go there. They don't travel like they in St. Louis or Chicago, where people don't mind going from the suburbs into to the arena. Right?
In the greater Phoenix area, you have Phoenix as your main hub, and then you have Glendale, Scottsdale, and that's about it.
Yeah.
People who are from those areas would only go to Phoenix. If they're in Phoenix already, they tend to not leave Phoenix to go out to Glendale. They tend to not leave Phoenix to go out to Scottsdale.
It's kind of like LA in a way.
Yeah. And the way the Coyotes are set up, they're always going to be set up for failure, even though the NHL thinks they are this gold mine. It has not happened. That's why the Coyotes as a market has failed for professional hockey. When it comes to minor leagues like the AHL or college, you're going to have a better standout for hockey. You're going to have better viewing there. The reason why the Coyotes get fans in their stadium is if fans just travel out to Arizona for a couple of days, catch a hockey game. If they're their teams in town, if it's like spring training, you start seeing more teams show up to those games because they have so many spring training events for the Cactus League, and their fans show up to those to the Coyotes game if their team's in the stadium. I remember this when the Hawks were purposely scheduled a lot to be in Arizona when spring training takes place because you have Chicago Cub and Chicago White Sox fans there and they are Chicago Blackhawk fans that will fill up that stadium and sell it out.
Yeah. Oh no, I get that. There are teams that travel really well, and you're right. And Ashley just looked it up. How much is that cheapest ticket, Ash?
$228.
$228. Not too bad. I mean, yeah, it's bad, but I don't know. I think that the experience may make up for it. Right?
I ain't paying
and I also think on the secondary market, they're going to go cheaper.
On the secondary market, it will go cheaper, but the person who's buying those tickets to put them on the secondary market, they are going to try and coop back as much money as possible. Their tickets are still going to be high on the secondary market.
I haven't looked at any of the secondary, so I mean I don't know yet. But I mean, again, when you play in a smaller arena like that, let's go back. Let's remember some of the old buildings in the NHL. Right? Look at the arena, Chicago Stadium, the Garden. And in Madison Square Garden before they renovated it, Boston Garden, the Forum in Montreal. I think that's what it was called, right? The Forum.
Yeah.
I forget what Toronto's was, but those square little buildings where everybody is on top of each other. Mm-hmm. And how those crowds reacted to that. That's the atmosphere that you're going to get in Phoenix.
I still can't see it happening. There's going to be fans that show up to those games, but the factor of the tickets being so high, the teams being so bad, you're still not going to sell out that arena.
Well, we're coming up on the hour. I have an announcement to make. I've been kind of waiting. I was hoping there'd be more people here. I have a special show for Ashley on Thursday. Right? She doesn't know about this yet. And Thursday, I have a gentleman that's going to be on the show by the name of Johnny Neal. And some of you may have heard that name before, and some of you may not. Johnny Neal is a member of the Kansas City Warriors hockey team. He was just recently invited to play on Team USA, one of the 3 Team USAs in Denmark for a Warrior hockey tournament. He is going to join us on Thursday to talk about his experience with the Warriors, with going over to Denmark and playing on the Charlie team, and talk about that tournament and what he saw over there. And really, they've had in Europe, they've had these teams a lot longer than the U.S. has. So the U.S. has got some catching up to do. It's going to be fun to really talk to him. You guys all know how I feel about Warrior hockey program. I see that big old smile on Ashley's face. I think that she's excited about it. I think it'll be a fun show. What do you think, Ash?
Absolutely. I can't wait.
Right? Yeah, it's going to be a real fun one. Hey, also, I think that your mic is not on this mic. It's on your computer mic.
I figured.
We're getting that echo. So it just dawned on me why we were getting it. Windy can't see the wind blow, but it still does. talking
the wind blow. Look at trees.
Well, you know, I just, like I said, I know I'm thinking outside of the box, and I know I may be wrong on some of these things, But looking outside the box a little bit, I just feel like there are some opportunities for things to happen in this NHL season that you wouldn't think of, that these hot takes, these things that come out of nowhere. And I just have this feeling that, the Avalanche not making the playoffs is one of them. I have not seen the ad on the jersey yet.
No, I haven't
Gila
either.
River Arena. Gila River casinos are their ad, and jersey ads are stupid. Should not be along on the NHL jerseys.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of ads on NHL jerseys. I'm really not. Right? I'm not. I didn't like the helmet ads, but the helmet ads have been okay.
And I hate jersey ads. The helmet ads honestly are better than jersey ads because it's not on something like this. Jersey ads should not exist unless it's minor league hockey or European league hockey. That's it. Right. Professional hockey, such as the NHL, should not have jersey ads. It's a joke.
I agree. I see that over in Europe, and I don't like it at all. I don't like the Europe. You never know what's, Manchester United, you don't know who they're playing for. You don't know that they're unless you just know the jersey. My favorite show, Ted Lasso. They lost their sponsor, got a new sponsor, had to get new jerseys.
This is a European hockey jersey.
Yeah.
You see the logo on this jersey. Most European teams, you don't see the damn logo on the team. Here's an ad. Here's an ad. Here's an ad.
Yep.
Oh, wait. Here's another ad.
Yeah.
And a big ass ad on the back of the jersey like that.
Yeah, with the name all the way at the bottom.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that.
The NHL better not go to that.
Right. And then, to be honest, the all the sports leagues with the gambling, I don't like it at all. I watched that. Melrose has the ad. Well, see, everyone's jumping on the Avs bandwagon and sucking their jock, and I'm not. I don't.
I could see the Hurricanes making it to the Cup final this year.
I could, but I don't see the Avs. I don't see if the Avs make the playoffs, I see them getting blown out in the first round, losing in 4 games or 5.
Just because how weak the Central Division is, I think the Avs have a chance to make the playoffs without an issue. The teams I see out of the Central Division, I will say this, is St. Louis, Colorado, and Nashville. Winnipeg has a chance. Their issue is I don't trust their coaching, and their roster has not proven much in the last few years. Then you have Minnesota, who could be a wild card, but they won't make the playoffs, in my opinion.
I think Minnesota could leap the Avalanche. I think the Avalanche goaltending is going to really leave them down. And Bobby, I'm sorry that I'm not on that boat. I do not think they repeat. I think they've lost way too many pieces. I think that their goaltending got worse, and I don't think they're coming into the season with a chip on their shoulder. And I think that's what they came into last season with, and it was obvious.
Hey, watch if the Hawks win on opening night in Colorado for their banner-raising ceremony.
I could see that. A lot of teams lose on their banner nights.
Oh, yeah. The Hawks were only able to win on one of those banner-raising ceremonies, and it was the 2013 banner.
The Blues got an overtime loss on theirs.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's hard to win on a banner-raising ceremony. Tampa Bay was able to do it after their bubble because the Hawks had 0 offense that night.
Hawks have 0 offense most nights.
Shut up about that. But that Hawks team, they even said going into that season it was a rebuild and a bunch of young players were going to play. They didn't know what was going on with Jonathan Toews at that point. But that season was weird. but there's not many teams who went on their banner raising ceremony. LA couldn't do it much at all. I think the Hawks, you said St. Louis won on theirs?
No, they overtime loss.
Okay. I think the Hawks, Tampa Bay, and the Capitals were the only teams to win on their banner raising ceremony.
I think Pittsburgh won on one of theirs.
No, they didn't.
They didn't? Okay. Ashley had to pop out. She said 3 a.m.'s coming a little too quick for her, so
okay.
She can only give me an hour, and we're over an hour now. So, for me, I want to. We'll talk about this real quick. We won't spend a lot of time. But what do you feel about the sports leagues embracing gambling?
It's a joke, but there's a bunch of money that comes into it. That's the reason why NHL, the NFL, MLB, and NBA are all going with like big advertisements with those companies. Last year I was with since Illinois has it legal and to vote to be able to bet on pro sports in Illinois, that was an ad you saw constantly watching Hawks games, even in those mid-game ads where they would show the ad on TV and show the ice still. That was one of those ads that you'll see constantly, but it's ridiculous, I would have to say, how it's gotten.
I like this. So here's another one that's drinking the Kool-Aid. The Avalanche are stacked from top to bottom. I'm not sure it's going to be an Alex Newhook coming out party, but let's go. Preds, I can see us winning the division. Well, the Preds, not, the
Preds could win the division.
Maybe, right? But the Avalanche aren't. The Avalanche aren't. The Avalanche, they are not stacked from top to bottom. Not even close. They lost 200 points and didn't do anything to bring it back. Right? That's the way I think. Yeah, that was not Kachuk's cousin. I got trolled there. So, no, they're not stacked. Where? They lost 200 points and didn't bring anything in. They're not stacked. They're not even close to stacked. They lost their bottom two lines.
That Avs team has some holes on it. I would have to say the Avs have some holes. They got worse.
Yeah, they got worse than goaltender.
I like the line of Lehkonen, McKinnon, and Rantanen.
Okay, that's one line.
That's one line.
That's
then
it.
You have to fill in the rest.
Yeah.
Newhook, Landeskog, and I really
Nichushkin?
What?
Nichushkin?
Yeah, maybe.
Nichushkin, yeah.
But
no, I just, that's not, you know what? I'll take that second line. I'll take the Blues second line over that. I'll take Thomas, Tarasenko, and Buchnevich over that line right there. Compters, Myers, Cogliano. I'll take.
That's actually a good line.
Okay, but I'll take Walker, Kyrou, and Barbashev over that.
You have Kyrou as your third line. Okay.
Yeah, I have Kyrou on the third line. I have 2 20-goal scorers on my third line. Right? So, no, they're not stacked, and they're not going to be as good.
The defense in Colorado is good. I will say that. They have a really strong defense.
Right?
Their defense it doesn't have holes on it. The offense, there's some holes. Their goaltending, definitely, that's their big hole.
Eric Johnson should retire.
Johnson should have retired winning the cup. I think that would have been smart.
They're not, I'm sorry, Bobby, they're not the best team in the league. They're not even close. They're going to come into this and they're going to shit the bed. I'm telling you, guys, listen to me. They don't have that chip on the shoulder. They got worse goaltending. They lost 200 points, and I don't see them making that 200 points up in here. I don't see that here. Right? Don't see it at all. And the division has teams that can beat them night in, night out. And the West is better. They're not coming in with a chip on their shoulder. That's why they were so good last year. They had a chip on their shoulder. That chip is gone, and I think it's going to affect them. No way. They don't even get close. They don't even get close. Bobby, don't even get close.
130 points. That is a hard point total for any team to even reach.
Yeah, they're not.
Because
and here he's going, Bowen Byram is a baby McCarr. No, he's not.
Byram's a great defenseman, but he's not McCarr.
Yeah, your Preds will have like 103. No, they won't. They may slip into second or third, but I think the Blues are going to be the best team in that division. I absolutely do. You look at the Blues, 1 to 12, and they are one of the best forward teams in the league. Right? They have an outstanding goalie. I think they have a very good backup. Right? Goaltending is not going to be a question for the Blues. And then defense, I think their defense is going to get so much better this year. And it doesn't even have to get that much better. They were still 11th. Yeah, 164 points possible, and you're thinking 130. It's not going to happen. Well, there you go, right there. The Blues are not going to come in with 102 points. Or 90 points. 90 points. He's got the Blues at 90 points. That tells you right there he has no clue what he's talking about. There's no way the Blues are going to only have 90 points and be fourth in that division.
70 points for the Hawks is too high.
Right?
I can't even say the Hawks will even come close to 70 points.
Right? I think Winnipeg is going to be better than people give them credit for. Absolutely going to be better than people give them credit for.
I like how Winnipeg's structured, but I don't trust their coaching. And the thing is, they have some big question marks with that roster.
Right. The Avs, I think, will be struggling to get 105. Right. And I don't think you look at the Blues were third in that division at 109 points. Right. The Preds had what, 90-something points? 99 points? I know they didn't have 100. And you're saying that they're going to jump all the... How are the Blues going to drop 19 points? Explain that to me when they lost one player on the entire roster. One player. Right? I think everybody is looking at Perron as oh my God, Perron is Nathan McKinnon or Connor McDavid, and he left the Blues, and it's going to leave this huge hole. It's not a hole this big. It's a hole this big. And it's a hole that other people can fill in. And I think that's going to happen. I really do. I really, really do. I think that you have to look at last season. You have to look at the playoffs. Who was the teams that gave the Avalanche fits? Who were the only teams that really came out and showed the Avalanche that they could play with them? St. Louis and Tampa. And how many people believe that if Bennington doesn't get taken out, St. Louis wins that series? A lot. A lot of people think Bennington doesn't get hurt, that series goes 7 or the Blues win it in 6. Right? Remember, when Bennington got hurt, the Blues were leading that game. They were leading that game 1-0. Right? And that's when Husso came in cold and McKinnon made that amazing play. Right? If we had Saros, we'd do better than the Blues do against it. No, you wouldn't. No way.
They would have a better opportunity at winning against the Avs if Saros was in net.
Okay, but maybe they win one game. Maybe they win one game.
I would say they maybe win 2.
Right?
The thing with Saros, he needs to stay
And if Bennington
healthy.
stays in, Bobby, if Bennington stays in, the Blues have a chance at winning that series. The Avs are the Predators don't. The Predators never had a chance at winning that series. Even with Saros, they don't have a chance at winning that series.
I know I gave the Avs winning that series in 5 games before the Saros stuff came out, so it would have been an interesting thing if Saros did play, but I still can't see the Avs losing to the Predators at playoff. And the
but you could see the Avs losing to the Blues.
I would say this: the Predators may have upgraded their backup, but they got the worst backup in the NHL.
Yep.
The worst backup being Kevin Lankinen from having the worst.
So they have better goaltending by a mile. Do you believe? There's no way. Bennington is better than Saros.
No. I would take Saros over Bennington.
I bet you by the end of the season, you're going to see Bennington's going to have elite type numbers. He's going to be, I know he's going to be somewhere around a 2.2 and have a 915 to 920 save percentage.
Okay.
Right? I'm telling you, what I saw Bennington in the playoffs, that's the Bennington that's going to come around. Right? You know what? I'm sorry. I think there's a lot of people that would take Bennington over Saros. Right?
I would take Saros over Bennington. And this is...
Well, if Bennington was on any other team, you wouldn't.
No, I probably would take Saros. Just the way I watch how Saros is in net, I would take Saros.
How many playoff series has Saros won?
2. He's still
1 or 2, right?
He's still younger than Bennington.
How old is Saros? I think he's, 26, 27?
No.
I think Bennington's 29.
27.
27. Bennington's 29. He's 2 years younger. The Avs don't have as great of a defense as you think they do. Right? The Avs defense was 7th in the league. The Blues was 11th. Where was where was your offense? You can talk about defense. Where's your offense? This was an offensive season, the highest offense ever, and I think I know that the Predators were not very high in offense.
They actually had a good offense last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's see. Goals for per game. They were 13th at 3.2.
It's not bad, to be quite honest. That's not bad.
Well, not when you're talking, but all the teams that were ahead of them, right? And
yeah,
then,
I know.
Goals against, they were 17th at 305.
Mm-hmm.
They scored 97 points, right? They barely snuck into the playoffs. They had, I think the Knights were chasing them. And the Knights had 94. The Stars had 98. Right?
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis, third, was at 109. 11 points ahead. 11 and 12 points ahead of both Dallas and Nashville. Right? I think everyone's writing the Blues because the Blues lost one player. They're writing the Blues off, and the Blues are still one of the better teams in the league to me. They were third in the league in goals per game, and they basically have the same roster.
Mm-hmm.
They lost, and you look at the top 10 teams. How many of these top 10 teams have rosters close to what they had last season? Florida, the Toronto Maple Leafs, maybe they're the only one. Colorado Avalanche, Minnesota Wild, Calgary Flames, Tampa Bay Lightning, Edmonton Oilers, Carolina Hurricanes, Washington Capitals. 8 of those teams had major changes to their lineups.
The only changes with the Oilers was them bringing in Jack Campbell, really. They didn't lose anything else afterwards.
I thought they had a couple of other.
I
remember they had some losses. They had some.
Duncan Keith retired, but that's about it.
Didn't they have somebody else in the mid? I got to look again, but got to spend some time paying attention to it. Well, you know what? The Blues beat writers also told me that the line of Tarasenko, Barbashev, and Buchnevich would never work. Would never work. All of them. And so you had a demon score 100 points, yet you were behind the Blues in both goals allowed per game and goals for per game. Okay, your 100-point defense is great. And it's not embarrassing. The Blues play a different style. Right? And I think I don't think the Blues lost to Nashville last season. I don't think the Blues lost to Nashville last season. By game. Got to open the filters up. Let's find Nashville here. Stats. Blues were 3-0-1 against Nashville. 7 points out of a possible 8. Blues scored 23 goals to Nashville's 14. So, Nashville gave up 5.75 goals per game and scored 3.5. Seems to me that St. Louis was a hell of a lot better than Nashville. Right?
Nashville did get a lot better. I would have to say that they did get a lot better on their roster this year.
No, I admit they got better, but everyone seems like St. Louis got so much worse, and they didn't.
I think what people see with St. Louis, they didn't do anything really in the offseason to get better or get worse, and that's where people see with St. Louis.
They scored 109 points. They were third in the league in goals for per game. They were 11th in goals against. They solidified their defense. They had a guy that they only had for 20 games that they now have all season that has figured out the defense. He was one of the best defensemen in the playoffs, in Letty.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have a much solider defense. You have Parayko coming off, probably going to be the healthiest he's ever been coming into the season. You have Tarasenko on a tear. You have O'Reilly in a contract year. Barbashev in a contract year.
Tarasenko on a contract.
Yeah, Tarasenko in a contract year. The Blues, the hole that everybody thinks Perron left is not this huge hole. It's not. Right? And that's what I think.
With those
everybody's looking. Go ahead.
I'm just saying this, with those 3 players on contract years, it will make that team more interesting to see what happens, because you can have a player on a contract year and having a career season out of it. You could have a player on a contract year and completely just utterly suck in it. So
if scoring stays high, I think the Blues are gonna blow that away.
mhm.
Oh, Zach Sanford. He's going to sit there and say Zach Sanford going to Nashville is better than any move the Blues made. I disagree with that. Zach Sanford is a traffic cone. He is one of the worst defensive forwards in the league. Every one of his mistakes ends up in the back of the net. He's been on 4 teams in less than a year. 4 teams in less than a year. And you're going to sit there and tell me, no. Right? The Blues did not need to do much. And they did, I mean, they brought in some experience. They're bringing up youth. They're bringing up speed. They have guys that are going to go down that should be up.
Mhm.
Neighbors should be up. Neighbors is probably going to go down. Walker should be up. Walker might go down. Costin should be up. Costin might go down. They have NHL players that are going to be in their minor league system. Right? And top 6, guys that are middle 6. To me, middle 6, if you're calling somebody middle 6, they're also top 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me, but, he's a middle 6 player. Well, isn't that also top 6? You know, if he's in that 4, 5, 6 spot, you know, isn't that the same as top 6? All right. Best lines in hockey will be Forsberg, Niedermeyer, and Duchesne, with Zossi and Madonna as our top pairing.
The thing with Duchesne, he falls off after one good year. He had a great year last year. He's going to have one. I have a feeling Duchesne will go back to his having a bad year this year.
Yeah, Bobby, look, I get it. I love that you love your team like I love my team, but you're doing what just about everybody else does in hockey, and it drives me crazy. And Wendy knows this.
I'm just saying you're a Stanley Cup favorite before the season even starts.
What?
Every team has it. Those fans that go into the season where they view themselves as the best team in hockey.
No, they look at the surface. That's all they look at, the surface. That's all they look at, the surface. They don't look at what's underneath. They don't look at the undercurrent of what's happening and what it takes. Right? You brought in players that you think are going to be good, but haven't been good. Zach Sanford has not been good at all.
Ryan McDonough's on the back end of his career.
Right? Forsberg has been good, but, I can see Forsberg falling off.
I could see Duchesne having one of his worst seasons this year.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you're looking at the surface. You have to look under it. You have to really get in to what's happening and what your style of play is. And I think that Nashville, Trashville, that they're trying to be an offensive-minded team, and they're not. Okay? There's Wendy. There's no way that's true. He's telling me that they've gained 12 points, and we've lost 20.
I could see the Avs getting at least 103 for the points this year, because I think they are in the top 3 for the Central Division this year.
I'm not going to argue that completely. I don't see it yet. I think the Avalanche, sometimes too many moves can hurt a team.
Oh yeah,
and they're one of the teams that made a lot of moves.
The Predators made a hell of a lot of moves this year. But I think some of the players they brought in works for how their roster is always built around. Bringing in Ryan McDonough was a big question with me, because McDonough's kind of on the back end of his career, and in the playoffs last year with Tampa Bay, he was not that good.
Right.
Nito Niederreiter, that's a great pickup for them. He's a player you could throw on any roster, and will get you those points.
Yeah.
Zach Sanford, not really good. He's probably on his last chance in the NHL.
Yeah. He's been on 4 teams. He's been traded for nothing, for future considerations, basically.
Yeah. So there's players they brought in that were big question marks. One on the back, who's on the back end of his career. One who's probably on his last NHL team, last chance. And then you get Niederreiter, who's a good player you could throw on any roster, and he's still going to produce. The way that team's built is a massive question mark.
He says Danto, Fabio, and Tanner.
Dante Fabro is a good player. I will say that. A breakout year could happen with Fabro, but Yenmark is not one that I can really agree on.
Yeah, no, I'm not with you. Hey, man, we're an hour and a half, and it's just basically just Bobby watching us. So you, me, and Bobby McGee. Wendy, thanks so much for coming out. Bobby, come on Thursday. We're going to have a guy that played with the Warriors, Team USA on the Warrior hockey in Europe. Join us then. Love your passion, my friend. I have the same amount of passion. I just cannot get behind what you're saying. Oh, Jason Nichols is here. Yeah, we love you, Jason. You just been so quiet. I didn't know you were still here. Guys, have a great night. I'll probably be on tomorrow. I don't know if anybody will join me, but I'll probably be on tomorrow, and I got to set up the show for Thursday. So, hey, everyone, this is Guy the Hawaii Blues fan saying aloha mahalo, and you got to know I'm bleeding blue with you. Aloha.